Welcome to another edition of EdTalks. This is the Great Leaders series. And when I thought about great leaders over the years that I've worked with, Ashley Jester pops out. Ashley, welcome to EdTalks.
Thank you for having me on. Pleasure to be
I've
here.
enjoyed working with you through the years in our professional organization and other areas. I just think the world of you. You're just a classic good person and a great leader. And so I wanted to share you with our audience a little bit and learn a little bit from you. So, Ashley, if you had to break it down, what are one or two things that have been really important to your success? Like, what are some of the key qualities that you brought to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, definitely people and community. Think, my background is a lot in working with healthcare executives and the certifications, but being able to really talk to them and see what their needs are. Anyone can kind of get a degree or learn something on their own, but it's really understanding the core issues. And I think that's what it really comes down to is building that network of engaging in others. And, I've had the pleasure in my career to be a part of that journey with others and just seeing that growth, seeing that determination, working with them, giving them some kind of side cues to understand, how to maybe transition or to learn or adapt a little bit more in their career based on their experience or their background, and really just filling those gaps. But out of those partnerships comes more of that relationship and just being able to build that with others and really understand their needs and making sure that we are meeting those needs. And if we're not, that's something that we can explore together. And there's always changes, especially when it comes to healthcare. So I think, that is a really critical component is just engaging with people and really having their listening ears on.
Yeah, those are great leadership principles and definitely what's made you successful. You mentioned credentialing, which is part of one of your great skill sets. What have you seen over the years? Like, how has credentialing sort of transformed?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've learned a lot within the decade that I've been working in that area. And I would say, it's not just your cookie cutter credentials that are cutting it these days. And it's not the typical pipelines. So, maybe in the past you kind of had that journey where you were in your career and you just kind of checked off the boxes as you went. But we see a lot of changes within healthcare specifically. And so jobs are very fluid. And so not only do you have people advancing in their careers, but you have people making lateral changes as well. And so you don't necessarily always have those foundation skills that you depended on maybe in the past, but you have more where they have more of a clinician background or business background or security. And so having that fundamental core information, I think is critical for success. And it's almost an expectation these days. I mean, there's so many cybersecurity changes or challenges out there. There's changes with AI and the fear of AI, not only from the patient side, but from the provider side as well. And just being able to have them understand what's next, whether that be a big credential or micro credential, or just kind of getting your skills refreshed, just to stay relevant in the industry is very critical.
Yeah, I love how you are, one of the primary advocates out there in our industry, really encouraging people to continuously reinvent themselves, not just keep up to date, but reinvent it and just double down on education in their lives. I mean, you're still like early in your career, so this may be a harder question, but what are one or two things that you're most proud of so far?
I would have to say just being able to provide, or I guess look back, to step back. It's easy to say, this is taking off, this is good, we're gonna stay here, but to really get out of your comfort zone. So it might not be something that I'm comfortable with or knowledgeable in, but I want to make sure that we're evolving and we're seeing things from a different perspective. And I think that is one of the things that have really propelled me is to not stay stagnant, but to continue to see, where are the trends going and be able to maybe even predict, where it's going to go. And so I think, being able to kind of step back every once in a while and see the bigger picture has allowed us to transform and expand programs from one to many to international, but also taking into consideration all those different nuances and standards and everything, and making sure that we're putting out quality, not just quantity. But I think that's a really critical piece is to really be able to stop and breathe a little bit just to make sure that you're making the right decisions moving forward. But again, going back to the people, are you really making it something that's tangible, something that's desired for that industry?
Yeah. And Ashley, I love the fact that peppered in all your answers is really the team. You give a lot of credit to your teams that you serve with, and that's another sign of a great leader. Ashley, thank you so much for sharing some of your insights on leadership on EdTalks.